Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, for the life of me, I cannot find anywhere in the public notices, in our meeting memos, in our congressional hearing documents, any mention of where this is a hearing about President Trump. It escapes me. I know that we have a literacy crisis in this country, and I am shocked that it has made its way to the halls of Congress. I think we should do something about that. Anyways, I speak for all Americans, I believe, when I say that it really shouldn't matter who's in office. It really shouldn't matter who is in the White House, because regardless, we should all be concerned about our constitutional rights. We should all be here protecting our constitutional rights. And so I would encourage my Democratic colleagues that maybe they should, I don't know, focus on the evidence that has been presented here, because it impacts all Americans, not just Republicans, but Democrats too. So I think that we could actually do something to address the weaponization of government in a bipartisan fashion, because it has tremendous impacts on our everyday life. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. Ms. Troy, I appreciate you being here. My colleague, Mr. Bishop, touched on this, but I wanna just make sure that I am exceptionally clear. You said that, quote, the government is not taking social media posts down, end quote. This is from your opening statement. You said that the censorship of American people is, quote, the result of the social media companies exercising their First Amendment rights. You were part of Vice President Pence's team, were you not?
Yes, that is correct.
And so as someone who is familiar with White House officials, you can confirm that the Deputy Assistant to the President and Director of Digital Strategy, Rob Flattery, and the White House Senior Advisor, Andrew Slavitt, are indeed government officials and not social media executives, correct?
Yes, when they were serving in the White House, they are government officials.
Okay, so on February 6, 2021 at 9:45 p.m., I just love when we have timestamps and all this in writing. It helps tremendously. When Mr. Flattery emailed Twitter executives demanding the immediate removal of accounts linked to Biden's adult daughter, he stated, please remove this account immediately. He also stated, quote, I have tried to use your form 3 times. It won't work. I think this is ridiculous that I need to upload my ID to prove that I am an authorized representative of the president. 2 minutes later, at 9:47 p.m., Twitter executives responded saying, thanks for sending this over. We'll escalate for further review here. He shot back. I cannot stress the degree to which this needs to be resolved immediately. Those accounts were then suspended and taken down. Now, fast forward about a month, Mr. Slavitt, Biden's White House senior advisor, said in writing, you know, it would be nice to establish trust with Twitter executives. Internally, we have been considering what our options are on what to do about non-compliance. Is that a threat? Would you consider that a threat from Biden White House officials to social media company executives to censor Americans' First Amendment rights?
I think you would have to ask that question to them. I can't speak for what was intended by that message.
If you were in that position, what would you do?
Well, actually, I can tell you because I've had conversations with social media companies during the Trump administration while on Mike Pence's office, where I did call a social media company, and we did say, could you please take these photos down, if possible, because a U.S. missionary was killed brutally in Cameroon.
Yeah.
And Charles Wesco from Indiana, whose brother serves as a Republican in the Indiana state legislature. It was his brother who was killed brutally. And the ambassador from Cameroon, US ambassador, did weigh in and say, can we take these down while they circulate to notify the next of kin before they see these horrific images of their father brutally murdered in a crossfire between 2 different opposing groups in Cameroon.
Absolutely, Ms. Troy. That is heartbreaking. And hold on, I've got to reclaim my time here. But so, Ms. Troy, what I'm saying is, I just presented, no, ma'am, I presented you with a parody account that the White House had to take down. A parody. That is a very different situation than graphic photos of a tragedy. Would you agree?
I am speaking.
That's a simple yes or no.
A situation where
Ms. Troy, if you cannot distinguish between a parody account and memes and jokes versus graphic photos, that's a problem.
I can't speak to what they were referencing. I don't know.
I just laid it out for you, but I'll reclaim my time. I'm going to switch to you, Mr. Schellenberger and Mr. Taibbi. Thank you guys for appearing here before. In a very short order, I have to go appear before the CDC Director, Dr. Cohen, please talk about the treasure trove of evidence that you have found with regard to the CDC silencing world-renowned epidemiologists such as Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and the impact that that has had on public health and the health of various Americans around the country because of the work of the CDC and FDA silencing these voices.
Time of the gentlewoman has expired, but the witnesses can respond and answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.